I told my friends to stop pushing me toward my adrenaline junkie ex, but after she called to brag about her new boyfriend and life, things got out of hand. They all staged an intervention to force me and her back together, which triggered my biggest anxiety attack ever, sent me to the hospital, and led to my ex moving in to watch over me 24/7. Now, I'm not sure how to feel about any of them, and I might never be able to trust those friends again. My name's Mark, 24dem, and a few months ago, I broke up with my ex Julia, 26f, who comes from the same tight-knit friend group as me. To give some quick backstory, things between us started as friends. Then, after a few months of chemistry, we started dating. But right from the start, Julia was all about extreme adventures, dangerous mountain hikes, bungee jumping, even talking about getting into car races. That's just not me, honestly. The whole time I was tied in knots worrying for her safety, sometimes for days on end. It all came to a head when one of her close friends got seriously injured during one of their stunts. That's when I drew the line and told her I couldn't keep living on edge like that. She blew up at me, called me a boring, miserable guy who'll die alone, and in the heat of the argument, I shot back that maybe her hobbies would catch up with her one day. We stormed off in opposite directions, furious, not speaking another word, just done. Since then, we've both kept our breakup vague within the group, simply saying we couldn't agree on something fundamental. But as time passed, about 4 months, I barely hung out with our circle anymore. Honestly, it was more her crew than mine to begin with. The issue boiled up again when Morgan, 23M, one of the mutuals, reached out asking if he could pass my new number to Julia because she wanted closure. I was indifferent, so whatever, I said yes. Julia gave me a call. At first, it was all small talk, stuff like why I've been so distant lately, but pretty quickly, she switched gears. For nearly half an hour, Julia monologued about her new boyfriend, raving about all the things she loves, how he's up for excitement and lets her be herself, how much happier she is now, and how maybe if I opened my mind, I'd have a better life too. I tried not to bite, just said, okay, but she didn't get the hint. So blunt as ever, I told her straight up I couldn't care less about how amazing her new life is, and if she just called to flex, then honestly, fuck off, and never contact me again. To be fair, her voice wasn't exactly gloating, but it stings hearing an ex say life's better without you. After hanging up, I blocked her right away. Not even a minute later, my phone went crazy. Our friend group started texting me about how rude I'd been, that Julia was just making conversation, and I needed to stop being so bitter just because she's happy now. I didn't think I was being an asshole, but apparently they all do. Am I really in the wrong here? Edit. Well, things have gotten worse. Now all these so-called friends keep hounding me to talk to Julia again, clearly hoping to spark something. They started applying pressure to get me to hang out with everyone the next day. I didn't want to go because I was sure they'd try and force me alone with her. However, one of them, Emma, 25F, is actually dating my boss, so I didn't want to cross her. I'll update soon though. Edit 2. So I did what they wanted and met up with the group. Honestly, this deserves a whole update because what happened was even worse than expected. At the moment, I'm frantically typing on my phone while texts keep pouring in. Sorry for leaving this on a cliffhanger, but I need a break before I can give the full story. Update 1. Sorry for this massive wall of text. So much happened that I couldn't find a way to make this brief, so here goes. As promised, I went to see everyone, more to keep the peace at work than out of genuine desire. As soon as I got there, I could tell it was a setup. Surprise, surprise. Everyone showed up late, except Julia. Then, in the most coincidental fashion, the host ran out to buy something, leaving just me and Julia alone. We sat there in the living room, both super awkward. Julia surprised me by apologizing for the earlier call, admitting she sounded out of line, but she was upset I blocked her before she could finish saying her piece. After that, we slipped into a conversation about our relationship and why it failed. But when I asked about her new boyfriend, she instantly froze, went quiet for a few seconds, then spouted some random stuff about him, and immediately pivoted to saying she actually missed me. She told me that being with me gave her balance. Her current boyfriend is too much like her, and it makes her feel unsafe sometimes, whereas I kept things grounded. She kinda kept rambling like that, but I honestly just tuned her out. Suddenly, Julia whipped out her phone, typed something, and bam, next thing I knew, the entire friend group swooped in. They started insisting I stop running away and told me isolating myself was wrong, that avoiding them because of the breakup wasn't healthy, and they were genuinely worried about me. I was completely overwhelmed. I tried to leave and told them I needed space, but they physically stopped me saying this was an intervention and I shouldn't run from my problems. I started having trouble breathing, my anxiety spiking toward a full-on panic attack. Luckily, someone realized what was happening and let me go rest alone in a room. A few minutes later, Julia came in to comfort me, and, hate as I am to admit it, her just holding me did help calm me down. Once I got my composure back, I told everyone I needed to leave, and Julia stopped me at the door to ask, "Can we try again?" All I could say was give me some time to think. I headed home feeling totally wiped out. Cue my phone blowing up with messages from everyone telling me to give her a chance, claiming we clearly still have feelings for each other. I genuinely feel like shit, not just anxious, but now second-guessing everything and feeling like a walking disaster. It's gotten so bad with anxiety that I'm not sure what I even want anymore. Maybe I should cross-post this to r/relationship advice or something. Update 2. It's been a while, but I'm still here. At least physically. I just got my phone back and saw the flood of notifications from you guys. I'll try to answer some comments later, but for now, here's what happened. After that last update, things crashed hard. I don't recall much of the next several days. My memory's kind of a blur. I ended up in the hospital after a full-on mental crash. Apparently, my friends got concerned when I stopped answering everyone's calls and messages. Julia came to check on me and found me collapsed on the floor with my medication strewn everywhere. She called for an ambulance. I don't remember any of this myself, but the hospital records back up the sequence. I was unconscious for around 3 days. When I finally woke up, Julia was there next to my hospital bed, crying and apologizing for everything she and the group put me through. Turns out, a lot of commenters here were right. It was a full-blown plan to get us back together, which they thought would snap me out of my funk after the breakup. Julia confessed she'd been feeling terrible ever since, even completely quit her old dangerous hobbies out of depression. She admitted there was never a new boyfriend. She just made that up to try to make me jealous and bring me back into her orbit. When that didn't work, she and the group tried the intervention ambush, hoping that even if it made me anxious, I'd eventually call her and get closure. Well, it obviously backfired. Instead, I suffered a breakdown and wound up in the hospital. Everyone thought I might die, and they were apparently traumatized by it. Some took medical leave from work to sit by my bedside. Once I regained consciousness, the entire group visited to apologize, telling me that the experience had been eye-opening and promising they'd understand if I never spoke to them again. I had to undergo a psychological evaluation, which concluded I was a threat to myself. My options were either to go to a mental health facility or have someone with me around the clock. Since I have no family to turn to, Julia offered to take responsibility. At first, I resisted. But compared to being institutionalized again, not my first rodeo, I agreed. So that's my situation now, living at Julia's place. It's bigger than mine, at least. Basically doing nothing all day while she takes care of everything. Cooking, cleaning, errands. She acts more like a caretaker or maid than anything. The weirdest part is that Emma, my boss's fiancée, actually forced my boss to continue paying me during my leave, with a bonus, which I do appreciate. If this makes me sound like an idiot for moving in with my ex, let me clarify. We've set up clear boundaries. She hasn't even hugged me since the hospital, and our conversations are full of guilt and regret. Julia says she's ready to be whatever I need her to be, even if I never get better, never love her again, never speak to her. In her words, it's my fault, and I'll do whatever needs to be done. As for me, the medication makes me so numb that I can't even tell what, if anything, I feel for Julia at this point. Maybe this will be the last update from me on this mess, but I wanted to write while I had the energy. Happy to answer questions now. At least for the moment, I've got nothing but time. That wraps up the whole story. This is a cautionary story about misguided intervention, showing how friends' well-meaning plans can go horribly wrong when mental health and genuine boundaries are ignored. I've got a question for you. Do you think their attempt to fix the situation was justified, or was it a massive overstep? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.